I'm going to call us to order at 7 p.m. Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Ferndale School Board of Education being held on Monday, June 16th, 2025. Our meeting is being video recorded and will be posted on the Ferndale Schools YouTube channel. All meetings in the Ferndale Schools are held in public in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Printed documents discussed in tonight's meeting are available to the public upon request, with the exception of any information protected by student or employee privacy rights. Board meeting information is posted on our website at www.ferndaleschools.org. If you do not have internet access and need information, please contact the board offices at 248-586-8652 by Thursday of the week prior to the meeting, and district staff will do their best to work with you. Item 1.1, roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Fromrein.
Here.
Delaverne.
Here.
Kaiser.
Here.
Mulner. Turner.
Here.
President Dickey.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1.2, approval of the agenda. After review of the agenda, are there any items that anyone wants to update? Then without objection and with unanimous consent, the agenda is approved. Item 2, budget hearing for 25-26.
Good evening.
Good
evening.
So tonight, as part of the budget hearing tonight, we are bringing forward the L4029, which is the tax rate request form that is sent to our 4 municipalities. No, okay. We discussed this at the committee of the whole meeting on June 3rd. We are looking to levy 18 mills, which is what we are required to do by the state, so that we can receive our full foundation. Our debt millage will be 7 mills. The 7 mills is based on the amount of debt that needs to be repaid. The sinking fund will be levied at 1.0652. It has been rolled back by Headley, which is why it's no longer the 1.3 that was originally voted on. As the taxable value goes up, we are able to maintain this. We bring in a little over $1 million in the sinking fund. We do need to keep our eye on the non-homestead millage, as we may need to go out for a vote so we don't fall below the 18 mills. So that means that. The next presentation is the 25-26 budget assumptions. The 25-26 original budget was discussed extensively at the committee of the whole meeting on June 3rd. Just to go over some of the budget assumptions we used. We used student enrollment of 3,122 FTE, which was an increase of 7 FTE from May membership blend. The blended membership is 9010. State foundation allowance increase of $392 per pupil to 10,000 even. MIPSR stabilization rate, 147C pass-through will be 15.02. And just there's a lot of uncertainty with the state budget and the federal budget, so there could be reduced funding in adult ed, SNAP budget, and Medicaid funding. In looking at expenditures, we used other special pay of $75,000, unemployment of $25,000. There was an increase of 2.9% to the legislative insurance hard cap. The retirement rates budgeted at 29.91%. The custodial expenditures were budgeted with a $300,000 increase. We put an installment purchase of 1 new vehicle. And the MIPSR stabilization rate, 147C pass-through will be 115.02. Step increase for UAW is 0%. The contract does expire on 12/31/25. Transportation step increase is 4%. AFSFA was a step, and 2.5 cabinet and exempt was 2.5%. Teacher step and 1% plus 5% for top step That contract expires 6/30/26. Secretaries, there was no step, but they moved to Group 1. Their contract expires 6/30/26. AFSCME step and 2%, and their contract expires 6/30/26. There is going to be one new position in the 25-26 budget. It's going to be a FMS social studies teacher. So then the next slide is the budget by function by revenue. And the total revenue is $50,824,000, which is broken out by local revenue, state revenue, federal revenue, and other. Then if you flip to the next page, it's budget by function by expenditures. Total instruction is $29.9 million, which is if you look in the second column, the percent of total, it's 56.9%, which is a little higher than the 24-25 budget. Total support service is $22.2 million. Then if you scroll to the next page, our total expenditures are $53.3 million. We are estimating that we will have more expenditures than revenue next year of $2.5 million. We are estimating our beginning fund balance at $10.5 million. And so that would mean our estimating ending fund balance would be $7.9 million, which would be about 15% of fund balance. Any questions?
Thanks, Dawn.
Okay,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 3, acknowledgement of retirements, years of service, and tenure. Got it?
Good evening, everybody. This is always a fun one. Here tonight to celebrate several employees, and the timing was not great with summer vacation and some people moving into summer mode. So we had several people not able to attend tonight, but nonetheless, we have some very honored guests with us this evening that it's my pleasure to help celebrate. We're tonight celebrating staff members who have observed years of service milestones this year. So 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, all the way up to 30 years. That's when we stop counting, Tom Mays. And we also have some teachers who recognize who achieved tenured status this year, and then finally some honored retirees. So again, several not with us this evening. I will still read their names to acknowledge them. But within each category, I'll start with the individuals who are able to make it tonight. So, and by the way, if you didn't grab any cake or punch, nobody will be offended if you step out to grab some at some point, because there's lots out there. So our first presentation tonight is in years of service, and we are very pleased to recognize Mercy Servio for 5 years of service with Ferndale Public Schools. Mercy is a secretary at University High School and a definite asset to the district. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Other individuals with 5 years of service that I'll acknowledge briefly, Nita Abner, Sahara Zar, Danita Darden, Andrew Durkix, Christiana Fox, Shania Franklin, Bronson Goodsell, Bridget Guerra, Casey Hammerly, Annie Harris, Stacy Manning, Tara McCormick, Megan Malosh, Elisa Maservi, Shanika Osborne, Keisha Reed, Kirsten Riley, Ms. Servio, and Ashara Simmons. Anybody else I forgot in the 5-year category? Okay, let's do one more round of applause. Our next group is our 10-year category, and we have quite a few in this category. None of them here tonight, but I will acknowledge their names for everybody. We have with 10 years of service this month, Claire Burgess, Rebecca Clark, Ian Gerzik, Heather Malnowski, Shelby Martin, Michelle Merkus, Elizabeth O'Halloran, Amy Pomeroy, Kayla Tobin, and Glynis Tyler, with 10 years of service. So congratulations. Oh, come on up. I'm sorry, I didn't see there. And I actually have a certificate for you, Shelby Martin. Come on up. I have to get to the certificate. Sorry, I didn't see a sneak in the back door. Congratulations. With 15 years of service, I don't think we have anybody here tonight. Anybody with 15 years? I'll run through the list. We have Jackie Barris, Danielle Cover, Amanda Goodson, Michael Hand, Michael Huff, Kylie Rouleau, Maurice Tellisford, and Javon Wilson with 15 years of service. So congratulations. "20 years, we have Kathleen Hayden, Michelle Merkus, Rachel Morrison, Patty Sanders, and Beth Yoakum. Please join me in congratulating. Anybody I missed in that category? I was trying to watch everybody as they walked in. With 25 years, we have the following. Again, I don't think anybody's here from this category. We have Ryan Dunlap, Akila Evans, Marcus Hike, Scott Jeffrey, and Michelle Kessler. So come on up. Accepting on his behalf. Team Jeffrey. There you go. Thank you. So we had 3 individuals reach our 30-year threshold this year. And 30 is a big milestone in education, right? And this year, what's unusual is all 3 of them are from the same department. And so I will read all 3 of their names. One of them is here tonight. It's from the transportation department. Go transportation. Retiree Cheryl Dirksey. Right? Congratulations, Cheryl. John Hardcop had 30 years of service, so congratulations to John. And joining us here this evening, celebrating 30 years plus another milestone, we have Kathleen Durant. This is the 30. And while she's up here, Kathleen Durant is also one of our retirees. Thank you for all of your service. Kathleen came to the district in July of 1995.
Wow.
If anybody is interested. Long time ago. So congratulations, Kathleen. We have another retiree present this evening that it's my pleasure to help recognize, and that is Mia Hall. Mia, would you come up? Mia has served in many buildings across the district, most recently as a social worker at Ferndale Early Childhood Center. Came to the district originally in September of 2002 and has definitely left her mark here in the district with her work with students and adults here. So Mia, congratulations on your retirement, and we appreciate it. And then our last retiree present, and I'll announce the other names. Our last retiree present tonight is Sue Sabag. Sue, will you please come up? Now, everybody in the district knows Sue. Sue has been working in the district as a substitute secretary, and most recently this year, we were pleased to be a part of her last official year before retirement, and we hope that Sue will not be a stranger going into the next school year. So congratulations on your retirement, Sue. Other retirees that I'd just like to acknowledge really quickly who could not be here this evening, Mr. Jeremy Frame, special ed teacher at Ferndale Lower. Yes, please. Jeremy had some kind of golf injury today or something like that. He told us, I can't remember what he said, but he's enjoying his retirement life. And then our last retiree who's Cheryl Dirksey. Cheryl Dirksey was our last retiree. So please join me. And then the last group that I'd like to recognize, I don't believe any of them are here this evening, but our teachers receiving tenure. Tenure is a big milestone in a teacher's career, and we had 5 teachers who achieved tenure this year. Tenure is generally achieved after 5 years of service to the district. There's some exceptions to that, but we had 5 teachers. Keisha Reed, Christiana Fox, Casey Hammerly, Megan Maloche, and Bronson Goodsell. So would you please join me? And we'll make sure that everybody who is not present this evening gets there. So thank you for helping me acknowledge these wonderful individuals. And thank you, everybody, for your service to the district.
Thank you. For all of the people who retired in years of service, we would love for you to stick around, but we're gonna go through presentation. So if you decide to like sneak out the door to get cake and punch and not come back, we won't be offended. That brings us to item 4, community and schools presentation.
All right, as we transition, we do have some slides we'll just plug in. Can you hear? Yeah. You?
Mine, actually to police. Send it to police. Okay, so the microphone is for the recording. We're not gonna amplify you here. Yeah.
All right, so as we get the slides shared, thank you so much for having us here this evening. My name is Sarah Sanders, and I'm here with Shanique Blair and Miles Green. We're going to talk to you for just a few minutes. We'll be mindful of time. But we were asked to come here tonight to present about the Community in School, or CIS program. We have not been here as long as some of the individuals just named. This is our 3rd school year. We had great experience. To celebrate the partnership between our organizations. So I will continue, but as I said, my name is Sarah Sanders. I'm our Chief Program Officer. I served with CIS in 2019 as Student Support Coordinator in Pontiac, and I worked my way through, and now I'm statewide, so I've been working with Ferndale the last 3 years.
Good evening, I'm Shanique Blair, and I've been with CIS since October. It's a pleasure to be here. I have an extensive history of working with FPD, so hopping into the education field was pretty interesting, and I'm loving it so. And I love CIS.
Good evening, my name is Miles Green. I'm the data manager for Ferndale CIS and the Ferndale community since July 2022. I've served as a student support coordinator at Ferndale Lower, Ferndale High School, and now data manager.
Not yet.
Okay, we'll keep going. Yeah, so normally we start and just kind of put up on the screen our mission. Just a quick show of hands. Who all is familiar with CIS? Okay, perfect. So maybe we don't need the slides, but our mission is to surround students support, empower them to achieve in school and achievement. And so we do that by providing support, as you all know, to students directly in school. We aim to find students who may be in need of some extra support, provide them layers of extra support through our tiered support model. We do this all in tandem with the school. So everything we do is in partnership with the school leadership, teachers, and other support staff, as well as district leadership and yourselves. So everyone in the district. We place a student support coordinator in each school building. So currently we are in 5 schools. We're at lower elementary, upper elementary, middle school, high school, university, high school. We are also going next year to the Tri-County Education Center, and we are so excited about that. I think we're saturating the district, so we're very glad. We find that our model does work best when we're in all schools or mostly all schools. Is our student support coordinators each building can actually coordinate with each other, whenever they're supporting across buildings, work with families from pre-K all the way. So I just did the mission so we can actually go on to the next one, and we can share this PowerPoint with all the. For context, we are in 82 schools next year across the state. A lot of our schools are in Southeast Michigan, but we stretch as far as Gardner, Muskegon. We're also Dearborn and Ypsilanti and most of the Detroit area. We are in our, actually, I think it's 25th year now, so 23 plus, 35. We've been in Michigan as a state office. There are two other CISs you may hear of, and then one up in Northwest Michigan. Here in the state office, we work closely with them. We're part of a national organization. So this is our model. I kind of started this already, just talking about our site coordinators. In Michigan, we call them student support coordinators. Those terms are interchangeable, but that's the individual in those 5 student buildings in the district. The way that our assessments operate is the first thing they do each year is start with assessment, step 1 on our model, where they go through and they find all the strengths of the school, the existing partnerships, really map out what's already happening in the school. We pride ourselves on the asset base and the community in the school, so we don't come in thinking that we know what the school needs already. We don't think we have all figured out. We capitalize on what's already well, what the strengths are. During that process, we also identify what's the potential areas or gaps that we can help improve. If there's a need for more support in a certain area, we identify that along with public school leadership, and then that's where we really focus our efforts. We typically set a school-wide goal in the areas of either attendance, behavior, or coursework. So we use data to set a goal at the beginning, understanding and as we work towards that goal, we're not going to factor involved in goal if it wasn't support towards the goal. We do choose an area to focus so that we can target our support throughout the year. The needs assessment involves interviews, focus groups, surveys, parents, families, students, school staff, district. Step 2, we then develop a support plan for the school based on the findings in that needs assessment, and that all that is the document outlines support to implement the remainder of the year. Those are organized into every tier. Tier 1 is school-wide support. Going campaign, school-wide field trips, PBIS systems that have already. Tier 2 is targeted small programs, so that's where we're working with small groups of students. That can look like just an example of tutoring groups, mentoring groups, different lunch bunches in some of our schools. And tier 3 is individualized, and that's where we're working one-on-one with students. So in each school, we have 35 to 40, that's our caseload number on average, students that we've identified in the local school staff. We do some extra layers of support. Our SSD works with each of those students and meets with them either monthly or bi-weekly. I'm not saying that the most first schools more than once a monthly at their minimum. And they work with each of those students. They set a goal with that student needs assessment, student support plan, and work with that student. Step 4, monitoring and adjusting. We are a data organization, so we have a data management system that we every tier 1, 2, use that data and our working period to see how we're doing on a student level as well as the school level, then make adjustments. And then step 5 and 6, we pride ourselves on being at the evidence-based model. We really take seriously the data that we learn, not only throughout the year, so that's our model. And above here, we have some specific information about how we do all this in Ferndale. Pictures, fun stories. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions about all right, well, we'll move on. I'll let Miles begin with some impact data. And then, as I said, we'll share what this actually looks like.
Sarah had stated, we are in multiple schools across the state. 73, unfortunately, updated numbers, maybe plus next school year, 926 case managed students as well as 42,748 case managed students, or excuse me, students overall. Next slide. So supports provided for the 22-23 school year. We had 9,000 plus whole school supports, 875 small group, as well as almost 5,000 one-on-one supports. For our school goal achievement, as you can see, we track things such as academics, attendance, behavior, and social emotional learning, which we track with survey we use called the SEED assessment. So you can see those numbers there. These are students who are progressed toward the goal and or met the goal. It's at 60%, attendance at 75, behavior 91, and SDL 88%.
Sorry, to interrupt, just clear, this is 22-23 data?
Yes.
We get aggregated data at the end of each school year, so we can send over 23-24 and also from 24-25 during the summer. So we should send all of that, but I think we can run the reports at any time. So this is kind of what our standard presentation is for this school year, but now for Ferndale.
All right, so our first school we're going over tonight is the Ferndale Elementary. This block just reflects some of the data points as far as basic needs, resources provided, as well as tier support. So this school has 11 tier supports for this school year. Tier 1 supports, excuse me, so those are those whole school supports. Like she said, those would be assemblies, field trips, etc. 25 case managed students, as well as 160 combined tier 2 and tier 3 supports, which are group and individual supports, and $3,425 in basic needs value resources.
Okay, now some of the highlights we have here, Ferndale, Lord, try to get some good pictures for you guys. But in partnership with Free Bikes for Kids, we were able to distribute 60 bikes to kids in Ferndale Elementary. The kids were absolutely thrilled. And I think the parents were more thrilled. It was such a nice event. We also had all park police come out and support us and help transport those bikes to the parents' cars. We also had a safety night at Ferndale Elementary, and that was both in person and online. And it pretty much was it's called a safety matters event. I'm sorry. And through hands-on activities and interactive stations and scenarios, the kids were able to practice how they respond to what we used to call in my time stranger danger, a long time ago. But it was a great event and allowed the kids to practice certain safety words to their parents and caregivers in the event that they're in a situation. Both events were very successful. And that's some of our staff and the principal over at Lower who supported us 100%. Great events.
All right, next school, Ferndale Elementary, we're at SNC that way. Our numbers for this school, 31 tier 1 supports, 20 case managed students, 25 tier 2 and tier 3 supports, and $1,448 in value resources. And top support categories, you can see those at the bottom. For whole school supports, we have life, social skills, family engagement, behavioral interventions, group supports, case management, behavioral interventions, life staff, social skills, and then individual life supports, case management, and academic assistance.
I apologize. I just want to go back to one thing. What is the diagram? Because I see
The diagram,
resources.
that is for, you can't really see, but in the blue we have food, and in the green is clothing. It's just a chart of really just all the sports that we had for the school.
When we select the donations and donations from the community and our partners for school supplies, hygiene items, anything that the students may need to have remote barriers are available free. And so that chart just shows the breakdown. And you'll notice that not just the diagrams, but all the numbers are very different. Each school is very different. So
Different needs.
the needs are going to vary.
Chris?
So Ferndale Upper Elementary highlights where the Deja Pathway, our FFC is located. They participated in the Leading and Growth program, sponsored by CIS, which is huge. And we also had vision board parties for the kids to, for the girls to kind of set some goals and, discuss what their dreams or aspirations are for the next chapter in life. And we also have one of our other SSCs join us, it's Tiffany Carr, who is over at Ferndale Middle School. So they were really, really happy. My superintendent knows Tiffany very well. And it was just a magical night full of girl power. We also did a literacy day of fuel. That was huge. We actually had a few parts to the literacy day. The first part, we gathered some volunteers, which included parents. We also had some CIS staff come, and then we also had the Ferndale Police Department join us, and they actually read to the children. We provided lunch, some snacks, and also what was so cool, we had youth leadership students to escort the adult volunteers to their station so they would read. That was pretty nice how we had them involved. And each volunteer was provided with, again, breakfast, lunch, and a gift. The second part to the literacy day, we had the youngsters go over to Ferndale High School, and they actually watched the movie, The Wild Robot, which paralleled with the book that they read, and they were able to watch it and communicate how they felt about the movie and discuss everything about it and what have you. And the third part was we actually created robot kits with the kids to complement the movie and the book reading. So the kids loved it. So they had 3 parts to literacy.
Next, we are at our Ferndale Middle School. You have the chart, we have clothing, hygiene products, and food. Of course, once you get into that middle school, you start using deodorant and all those wonderful things. So,
We need it before middle school.
we have 104, 14 case managed students and 93 tier 2 and tier 3 supports combined. And then top 3 supports for whole school, attendance, behavior, and interventions, group supports, case management, as well as behavioral individual supports case.
And over at Ferndale Middle School, kids were able to turn their tour tickets into some exciting prizes through the Blue Light Special that Mr. Brewer runs over there at Ferndale Middle School. It's organized by our SSC, Tiffany Park, and it rewards students for their positive behavior participation throughout the entire school year, so they're able to buy different things in the store and win some awesome prizes. So that's pretty sweet. On April 25th, we were able to do the Lion Park experience where kids learned a lot through music, and they also learned a lot through visual art and how to express themselves through coming-of-age stories. And we kind of tackled bullying, self-worth, self-improvement, self-esteem, self-confidence, being yourself, and following your dreams. Things that are very much important, especially in middle school.
Now we are moving to our high schools. At Ferndale High School, we had 83 tier 1 sports, 20 case managed students, and 205 tier 2 and tier 3 sports. And then also in this one, we also have, along with the hygiene products, we have the school supplies. So when we did the back to school classes here, of course, the students, first the FSC, were able to provide school supplies for that, as well as, and then take the leftovers and pass them out to the students throughout the school year. Boards, top 3 supports. In whole school supports, we have attendance, enrichment, in college career preparation. Group supports, we have life and social skills and academic assistance, and individualized, you see that trend continues to be mentioned, with $2,664 in value resources.
Ferndale High School programming, our SSC Chloe Wallace, who is amazing, coordinated a Ferndale High School trip to Olivet College, where students were able to tour the campus, get an idea of what college life is like to prep them for entering college. She also organized an event where kids were able to put some positive energy and express themselves on T-shirts, to be creative, mingle with other children, and discuss some life skills. And self-love and encouragement was her goal. So I want to.
All right, this one, final school is our most recent add-on to University High School. where we have 12 for tier 1 supports, 25 case managed students, and 17 tier 2 and tier 3 supports. We'll pay $4,631 to provide resources. As you can see in the chart, we have in food, clothing, hygiene products, and school supplies, top 3 supports. This at the bottom of the screen again, as you see, individualized supports contains the case management, group supports, life and social skills, and multiple supports attendance and intervention. Next slide, please.
Programming at University High School. We have Gabrielle Living, who's cited there. She coordinated an event called Good Vibes Day Party. It was actually cool. They had both sticks and they had food, and kids were able to express themselves and celebrate improve attendance. We like to incentivize with the attendance. It kind of motivates students. The atmosphere was definitely full of energy as they had lunch, music, and fun activities that was good and coordinated. And it was a great way to recognize their efforts and keep the positive momentum going. She also coordinated another event called Black Excellence, which is really nice. It was a celebration of food, art, and it also featured the high schoolers able to network and show their talents through, as you see on the pictures, they created some paintings and able to network with one another. So that was pretty nice.
And Gabrielle is also an alum of University High School.
Yes, University.
So before we close out, on that note, thank you for sharing that. Getting to know the school, getting whatever possible, alumni, or really involved parents. And so Gabby is a perfect example of she wanted to return and back to her school. She's doing an amazing job there. So before we close out, we want to take this just to thank everyone in this not room, because we can't do any of this without the collaboration of the district. We saw just a small slide where school year highlights, but there's so much more, and all of that is possible because of the collaboration we have. Don't tell anyone else this, but I think Ferndale is probably my favorite district. Just because of the more receptive. Thank you for that. As you can imagine, it's challenging when we're not welcome to this way. Fantastic partnership. So thank you for that. I don't know what time looks like right now. We are open to questions. If there's not a lot of time now, we're always open for questions. We put our emails up there. Superintendent Hiller has our phone numbers as well. Jason Cruz, super. Yeah. Super. Jason Cruz, our regional director, he's not here with us tonight, but he's also available anytime for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If I could, I'm not sure if the board has any questions, but I actually was hoping to see if we actually have an opportunity with a number of our principals in the room. So would any of you like to just speak very briefly about like the impact communities and schools has had in your buildings? I think would be wonderful for the board to understand from your perspective the impacts in your building. So not to put you on the spot, but you have anything, would love to hear.
I can start. I mean, we're brand new to CIS this year, so I think this year a lot of it was for her was about learning their programming and learning about our school and all of that. So we met at the end of the year to really talk through how we want to target attendance and really focus the CIS efforts. So,
at the high school, the third year that I have to do it, they definitely support the attendance of, employees, some things like early breakfast in the morning to try to get kids to come in early. Support with our late protocol, as well as, always, they talk about snacks, but she feeds all the time. I mean, you'll see kids to kind of drop out there on the way back, and they can go back to Rose Bar, they can go back to water, so she's providing them back. Jones is very important for her school family. She supports staff, students, families. She's a great wealth of resources. She goes out and finds something. If I brainstorm something, I think we need this. We got to work on this. She's like, I got it. I'll take care of it. So she's really
valuable at our school and everyone knows. I think it's about, like the gaps, like CIS really helps me feel like my social worker has a full week, my mental health specialist has a full week. So you get these students that are right on that bubble, need like, they're not enough, they need support here, right, but they really need more than what me running around the building can do. So we're just getting more kids involved in the wraparound services. Outreach, just P at our building is amazing with the parents. Finding outside supports when things are not going well. They have access via CIS to way more than just us, right? Like we're Ferndale Youth Assistance, that's a great first step. But this is even bigger outreach. And then for us, I wanted to say on Literacy Day, he helped us get the last 200 books. We did our first book club community this year. And then in CIS, actually, we didn't have enough to give every kid a book from CIS.
Thank you all so much. I wish the SC could hear that.
Ferndale Middle School, the one thing I like about CIS is flexible to the building, needs of the building, right? So you have a plan to begin the school year, and then there's this gap that come about. I think we're all in unison. They may help with attendance. Ms. Carr specifically looked at students that are approaching truancy, beginning in 6th grade, and help to create this 3-team process that we have. But also, culture is a big thing in our building. We talked about the blue light special that we have, store, raising those funds. It's hard at middle school level. Our parents tend to be really close at the elementary level. As they get older, start to drop off a little bit. So that helps us to bring in, like, the youth to help us in their funding, support the store, and our kids, of course, at every time. So it's very
Thank you guys so much for letting me put you on blast like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That brings us to.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, good
Item
evening,
5,
everybody. How are we doing
spring
tonight?
Building my data presentation.
All right. Good evening once again. Back in April, we shared our winter data presentation and really tried to focus on our school improvement process. So now that we have just wrapped up our spring assessment window, we asked each of our principals to provide a few bullet points that kind of summarized and highlighted the work that they did between winter and spring. So each principal has provided one slide. They provided an entire presentation. I took one slide from each presentation and pasted it into the spring data highlight. So at this point, we'll call up Mrs. Keith. We got one.
Which one did you pick? Oh, okay. Okay. So far. Okay. So points of, oh, that's not right. That's the old one. That's the old one.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that the only one? But I had it.
Yep, so if you send it to police.
You can read it. We're gonna ask for more stuff, so don't worry about what's on the screen. All right.
Thank you, Mark. If you want to just.
To be fair, the upper one has got errors on it too, so if you guys just want to read out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's okay. So points of pride, the first one is for iReady Math. And iReady was a new assessment, so a baseline assessment they were doing this year. The aim is for 100%, and we reached 92% of the median progress on the iReady Math. So some work to go, a little bit to do, but have a plan for that. But we started the year with 15% on or above grade level, and we ended with 56% in that same green level. And then the best part here is that we started with 15% 2 or more grade levels below, and then we closed that gap and ended up with 3%. So especially at a K2 level, like they bloom at different, no pun intended, at different points, right? And so, so closing that gap is really important. So going from 15% down to 3 is great. Then in Acadian's ELA, we decreased the percent of well below in all grades, ended the year with all grade levels at 68% or higher that were on or above grade level. And doing that while we were navigating a new curriculum, which is an important piece to know. Social emotional learning, always like to highlight some of that. 93% of our students feel that their teacher cares for them, and 92% have important friendships. And again, at a K2 building, friendships are so important and their teacher is so important, right? Blending those together. So continued steps, year 2 with fish tanks, doing some targeted work with literacy with that. One thing we did in the winter with second grade when we saw some of those scores, we had a focus group for second grades. We hope to start that earlier next year and also see if we can work that schedule to be for first grade as well. So increasing our student discourse across all academics, actually all areas in our school. That's a focus for our school to continue on. And then having our literacy coach really continue those coaching cycles that we're seeing that are so powerful, and working and writing with that. Next steps for math is we have a first grade instructional para that works with math, and we're going to do more targeted interventions, more targeted lessons. Right now, she's supporting in the classroom with the core curriculum, which is important, but we got to fill out some. We have to fill some of those holes for those students. And really excited about having the iReady individualized pathways. I think that that's really going to be supportive and support that student right where they're at and fill those holes for them as well. And if we have tutoring again, start that a little bit earlier. So that's lower. Any questions for me? Sorry, Tom.
Sorry.
And board, I will make sure that you get the updated slides ASAP, if not by the weekend.
So I did paste the correct slide into the Google slide deck, and I sent that to Miss Wright. So
Okay.
if we can share that out,
You want me to-
great. And I apologize.
Okay, who's next?
At this point, we'll call up Ms. Jeffrey, Ferndale Uphill.
Oh,
Yeah,
there is
no,
a-
it says.
Okay, good evening. Of course, wrote a little, can you go up a little bit more? Wordy. Okay, so some points of pride for us on our spring data as a building. In reading, we exceeded the 100% median progress, so 106%, which is great. And what I was really happy about is we went from 38% fall proficiency to 55% in the spring. So pretty significant growth there. Third grade ELA was just simply outstanding, though awesome team, but I also really have to credit the K2 building, the letters cohort training that the district has been supporting at the state level and here. The work of the literacy coach has been essential in us. This is not on the slide, but our Fuel just finished their 9th year as a building. And our M-STEP ELA has doubled in those 9 years. So that is the efforts of the K2, not just the 3-5 building. So I think that's important to know. And then also they grew 9% in Acadians from fall to spring, exceeding the MyKIP goal of 7%. And then most importantly to me, the percent of students well below in third grade specifically decreased from 31% to 19%. Which is evidence that our MTSS system, our student success team, is working. Our students are getting tiered. This was the first year, thank you, board, for the way you allocate things, that every third grader in my building that was below grade level at the beginning of the year was able to get intervention either via AmeriCorps Reading Corps or our reading interventionist, Miss Jones. So that was fantastic. And this let us increase our intervention at the 4th grade level, which is essential. All grade levels Acadians, we had an average of 68% at or above grade level in reading, and preliminary ELA step results suggest, it's unscrubbed, but that we will be at or above predicted state average in ELA for all grade levels for the first time. So we'll see how the essay rolls out, but that all 3 grade levels will be either at or above, I believe. Math iReady, all grade levels doubled or more their fall at or above student proficiencies. So our building average was 16% proficient to 39%. And what was probably the highest moving category, which was great to see, similar to Ms. Keefe in reading, is that the 2 or more grade levels below decreased to very little. I didn't put the numbers in there, but so the yellow grew significantly, which means we're meeting those stretch growth goals and trying to move the bottom when they're more than 2 grades below grade level. And then staff culture, I think this was a winter data. I didn't think I had the spring at the time, but above national averages for the staff survey in all categories. In the family survey, we were above national average in school climate, barriers to engagement, and school fit. Intentionality and next steps. So with Fish Tank, much like Ms. Keefe, targeted professional learning and literacy to continue the gains we have been making. Like when I say significant gains in the last 3 years, I'm serious, and the secondary is going to see that. Student discourse, classroom observations, so dedicated time to get our teachers in each other's rooms. So to see best practice, to reflect on best practice, and to share best practice. Been trying to do that. We used to do it before COVID, and we're now kind of subs have evened out and things are happening to where we can actually allow for that to happen again. And then our dedicated K-3 literacy coach, Ms. Yax, is essential. In math, obviously, that's the area we still have a lot of way to go. There are gains through specific lessons via IXL, but that would be the iReady Individualized Learning Program, but IXL was very helpful this year for that. Back on track tutoring, we had over a year's growth for students in back on track, and they were all below grade level if they were in that program. We are beginning some math essentials PL, really focusing our PLC calendar 3-5 next year on math, building thinking classrooms. Michelle Harris, who's an outstanding math educator, longtime Ferndale teacher, is leading a book study we're doing this summer with 6-7 teachers across grade levels and leading a number of PDs next year, as well as currently tomorrow, second day, creating math look for documents through Oakland schools to help teachers get in each other's rooms and for us to see math practice and then make some changes in our instructional tier 1 instruction. I think that's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ferndale Middle School. We'll call up Mr. Bruner.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you. I was having it on my phone. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So again, as everyone has expressed, we're using iReady assessment. Our first year using this assessment, so it's a growing process as we learn to maneuver through that new testing and local assessment. So in June 2025, the goal of 6th grade through 8th grade students who have reached or exceeded grade level using iReady will have grown by 5% from fall benchmark. You will see we made strong gains, particularly in reading. 6th grade, we had a 9% increase from fall assessment to spring. 7th grade, 48% surpassed end of year goal with a 15% increase from fall to spring. 8th grade, 55% surpassed end of year goal with 18% increase from fall. By June 2025, the number of 6th grade through 8th grade students who have reached or exceeded grade level using iReady Math will have grown 5% from fall benchmark. So our 6th grade, 31% end of year goal, a strong gain there with plus 18% from fall to spring. 7th grade, 26% surpassed end of year goal with an 8% increase from fall to spring. And 8th grade surpassed end of year goal with plus 9% increase from fall. That's the area that we have to look at in our math department. There's some data that we need to dig in a little bit deeper as it relates to testing with, though, not even an excuse, but it's very close to taking PSAT testing as well in M-STEP. And we have to take a look at that process. By June 2025, we'll move 10% of our students in the well below category. As the other principals mentioned, that means 2 to 3 grades below grade level and moving them up. We had good and strong substantial gains, moving everyone up at least 1 to 2 grade levels. 6th grade decreased from 53% to 38% to fall with a decrease of negative 15%. minus 15%, I'm sorry. Seventh grade decreased from 46% to 36, down to 36% from fall to spring. Eighth grade, we didn't make that much of a gain, again, decreased from 47 to 46 fall to spring. There's one more that slide that was not in there, but I just want to talk about the reading, to show you how strong that our students perform in reading, and that seems to be a thing that we're doing across the district, starting down in elementary school. 129% sixth graders showed typical of over a year's growth, and up to 170%, 76% of seventh graders showed above and beyond growth in. So basically, our entire sixth, seventh grade showed growth in a year's growth in reading in seventh grade, sixth grade, and seventh grade, but surpassed it even by much more. So mine is shorter to the point. Any questions? Thank you all.
I have a question.
Oh, wait.
Principal Bruno,
Oh,
what do you attribute that growth to?
Dedicated teachers, dedicated practicing. I think we're getting more in alignment working with the elementary schools. We saw it early on, particularly in sixth grade. We had our sixth grade come over. You followed your data from the beginning of the year to the end. And Katie and I have had these conversations during that transfer. If you take a look at our data, you'll see they show growth in the winter data and in the spring. It has been pretty strong since. So I think we're getting more in alignment with one another.
Definitely saw some intentional work between Principal Jeffrey and yourself with the tightening of the transitions, making sure, you're at fuel is coming over to Ferndale Middle School. And I think that the more that collaboration continues, we'll continue to see.
There's also strong focus in our PNCs is data analysis, right? And we do those at least 3 times a month as it relates to school level, once a month as it relates to district level, but those intentional data analysis focus helps us with that. When we'll see, we believe coming over with the sixth graders we have coming over, we believe we're going to increase even next year.
Next up, Ferndale High School. Griffin.
Good evening, everyone. So I followed the directions of Eric and I said 5 bullets. They told me 5 bullets. Here's what you get, 5 bullets, okay? One slide, 5 bullets. So we're excited to share that in both 9th and 10th grade, we met and actually exceeded the 5% growth target in both ELA and math. I didn't put the specific numbers in there, but for 9th, it was 7%, 10th, 9th, ELA 9, it was 7%, ELA 10th, 9%. 9th, 9% math, and 10th, 10%, 6% math. Just how do we do that? By focusing on building that vocabulary and conceptual knowledge in those targeted areas or in that content area. So, getting in math for them to think like mathematicians. In science, you should be scientists. You want to go in there and you want to hear that academic language being spoken by both the teachers and the students can actually regurgitate those phrases and connect them to the content area. Using iReady to try to drive more targeted interventions. You heard some of my other colleagues speak now that we're getting, a bonus this year. And so hopefully, although it's not great for high school because I believe they only go up to 8th grade but however, we got kids that are performing 2 and 3 levels behind. So if we can get them and put them on some 8th grade content, we'll be able to meet them where they are. Also just collaborating throughout the building to strengthen those tier 1 targeted instructions and providing response support through intervention. So what do those tier 1 instruction pieces look like? We're continue to do the building thinking classrooms, which is to, we have the students thinking vertically, really focusing on productive struggle, not just handing it to them, but making them think through the process, continuing on the productive talk moves to build that student-to-student discourse. Also, just feedback, having our teachers provide structured feedback, exit tickets, more formative assessment in the form of not just, allowing the kid who always wants to be first to raise their hand, but cold calling, having them pull sticks to find out who's going to answer next and, pulling more kids into the lesson. And then lastly, accountability check-ins. I believe that's what supported the consistency and helped our students sustain growth. And that is it. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Can you clarify what you said about not being available for high school? What's not available for high school?
So the pathways, the IXL pathways.
Like the individualized?
Yeah, the individualized. And so IXL just does it. Now, thankfully, you all, the district, we've invested in it. But what I'm saying is it doesn't have that available for 9th and 10th and 11th graders. We only test on 9th and 10th grade anyway. And as you've heard, most of our data, a lot of our students are falling in the 2 to 3 grade levels behind. So we have 9th graders that are 3 grade levels behind. We can definitely utilize it. So we'll be happy to have that. So we do have it. IXL does not offer it beyond 8th grade.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Next up, Ms. Patterson from University High School.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So I presented my data a little bit different because one of the things that we have found really, really helpful since the switch to iReady is that it not only gives you a raw score, it also translated to grade level. So I'm super proud of the growth in grade levels that we had throughout the year. When our students started out the year, and this was the first time I've been able to see like the actual grade levels where they start at, and I was like, oh, wow. They come to us, they don't come to us from FMS, they come to us from all over the place. So, we try to meet them where we're at and scaffold and build. And so then when I saw a big jump at winter, I was like, okay, how much of that is that the students weren't comfortable when they took the fall test, right? Like they're in a new place, it's strange, they don't have a relationship with the teacher yet. So I wasn't sure what kind of growth we'd see from winter to spring, but it continued. So I am super proud of our teachers and super excited about this. So in 9th grade math, we grew 2.46 grade levels. 10th grade math, our students grew 2.27 grade levels. 9th grade reading, they grew 3.08 grade levels, and 10th grade reading, they grew 2.84 grade levels. And that growth was with students at the bottom and students at the top, so I didn't have room to include this, but we went from, in reading, for 9th grade, we started the year at 2% that were at or above grade level, that we ended at 37% that were at or above grade level. And we started the year with 80% that were 3 or more grade levels behind. We ended the year at 28%, 3 or more grade levels behind. So really at all levels of student ability, the students grew. So that was really exciting. Similar things in math. We started the year at 2% at or above grade level. And went up to 31% at or above grade level, and then started the year 87% 3 or more grade levels behind, and ended the year 49% 3 or more grade levels behind. So I'm just really excited about the growth that we saw this year. Some of the things that drove that impact, a big focus on student talk, both through the vertical whiteboarding in math, through the use of circles in the classroom, through Open SciEd and the focus on discourse there, through productive talk moves, just really working on that piece of it. Always we're in a continuous search to make things more relevant and use problem-based instruction to just build that relevance and build that engagement. And then our teachers really do an outstanding job of using universal design to provide those supports to meet students where they're at, but provide access still to high school level content and have those scaffolds in place so that our students can achieve that. Any questions for me?
Will we be able to get the spring sense of belonging data?
Yes, it was not available when I had to submit this, but I believe it is available now. So,
Okay, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, principals. I really appreciate having each of you come here tonight to highlight the work that you and your staffs have done. Much appreciated, and congratulations on all the great work that's been done with the great results. So Yeah, we will turn it back over.
I have
Thanks. Oh, yeah,
something
yes,
for
ma'am.
Tom. I think we've mentioned this in the past, but as much as we can have standardized slides from
Correct,
each
yep.
building, because we just saw 5 different buildings have 5 wildly different slides. Love that you guys are excited in different ways about what's happening at your buildings, and it's all goodness, but it makes it really hard, especially since the agenda item is MyKIP. So we only really saw it tied to the MyKIP goals in the middle school slides. So it's hard for
No,
us
yeah.
to know, like, are things real, like, what's a true improvement versus our goals versus what's just, we're going to highlight all the great stuff. So
Right.
I'm glad there's a lot of good stuff, but
So for clarity,
yeah.
everything that was presented tonight was connected to their MyKid goals. We'll do a better job of reminding you what the goals were, so you can see
Right.
that it was connected to the MyKid
Right.
goals.
Right, yeah, it's not clear how it's connected to the MyKIP goals for us.
Understood. And just so everybody understands, I will be processing the full spring data and we'll be sharing the full scope of the data, MyKIP and non-related in the near future.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to item 6, presentation of building dynamic plan.
Good evening. This is right. I sent you probably 2 different versions. This is the second updated version before. It should just be named like 2 updated, second updated. Yeah, there's another.
Maybe it's summer principals.
Thank you, guys.
This one says updated.
It should be named. It has a number 2 in front of it for you. Yeah. There it is at the top, 740. Yeah.
Right here, right?
Yes, ma'am. All right, so again, good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be with you all today. My name is Dr. Kelly Peterson with the Educated Approach, so really excited to share an update with you on all the progress that has been made on the strategic plan. I know the principals just left, but definitely appreciate the work that they have contributed to this, and I'll share a little bit more about their work and all of the work of different stakeholder groups throughout the plan. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this process began in September to current. So we have been working through a 7-phase process and really excited again about the progress that's been made and where we are, and we are almost to the finish line. We did this work not in isolation, but the use of 2 groups, both the strategy development team, which is a mix of stakeholders that really focused on where are we now and where do we want to go. And then we also worked with the strategy action team, which is really your leadership team. So both district leaders and principals work together to really narrow down on how actually will we get there, and so more of those detailed action items. So I will go through kind of some updates with you in terms of walking you through each phase, high level. So the first phase was around collecting outcome data. We wanted to make sure that we understood the current state. Before we can know where we're going, we have to understand where we are. We were assessing also the previous strategic plan, those goals, but also looking at a lot of different data sets to get, again, an analysis of the starting point, understanding what trends to build upon, what strengths of the district, and where areas to continue to improve. We then did some stakeholder data collection. This was done in the form of both interviews and focus groups as well as surveys. the focus here is really wanting to understand the experience of the current stakeholders within FPS. What things were working, what were the experiences, what were the needs, and what were the visions for the district moving forward. We were able to do that and have focus groups. I had about, for this stakeholder engagement, 111 participants in focus groups, and then 378 survey respondents. We noticed that in the beginning, we had the survey open for some weeks. We weren't really getting the traction, came back to the team to really strategize how do we get more engagement. And the team really stepped up and showed up to make sure that we got more responses in the survey. So we had 378 respondents to that survey. Some of the highlights that came from that engagement, both the focus groups and interviews as well as the survey, some of the things that they stated was in terms of the strategic plan previous, in terms of the goals, felt like the incorporating technology is something that the district was doing very well, which was a previous strategic plan goal. One of the areas that elevated in terms of needing to prioritize was the increase of student achievement. When we looked at some of the attitude statements, 70% of the participants agreed that they felt a sense of belonging as part of the community, which was something to highlight as well. We utilized that information and then created a SWOT analysis. As the board, you all were part of that during your January 11th retreat, along our strategy development team, who also had 2 dates to engage in that work. They were able to take the information collected from the outcome data, as well as the stakeholder data, to determine the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that were identified in the current state. The next slide just highlights really high level some of those areas. We have in our strengths commitment to equity. One of the things that continued to come up was having a shared language across the district and understanding of the importance of equity as a strength. Also, the continued focus of student well-being, specifically amongst the elementary students, where we saw some weaknesses around disparity in staff demographics and leadership representation, and the difference between the student population. Some academic achievement gaps, and so when we dig down and looking at the racial demographics of performance, seeing some gaps there. And then some inconsistencies around social emotional programming. So we see the strength in terms of the student well-being and the SEL focus in the elementary, but some inconsistencies around where it's implemented in the upper grades. Opportunities is around improving district-wide practices, specifically around having a cohesive academic expectation to increase rigor for student performance, as well as intentional staff development. Some of the threats that were identified, just perception and mindset barriers, external misinformation, relying overly on social media communication as opposed to being able to go directly to the source and getting that from the district, as well as, again, some performance gaps and engagement issues when we look across our racial demographics of the district. We utilized that information and with the work of the board, then had the opportunity to go into strategy development, beginning with the vision story. So once we have an idea and a snapshot of where we are, we can begin to dream outside the guardrails to decide where we want to be. That information is then used to develop priorities, which then lead into the strategic priorities. And so board, you all may remember in the next slide, your 2030 vision story. Some of the high-level pieces that came out of that is just in terms of successfully shifting the focus from recognizing equity as a value to actively embedding it within the daily operations. We also see that the strong academic foundation empowers our students to compete successfully for college admission and career opportunities at the local, national, international levels. Although there's an intentional focus on academic outcomes, we continue to value a holistic approach to education, nurturing the minds, bodies, and spirits of every student. Also, we recognize that although schools are at the center of every community, they are surrounded by other community organizations, partners, and business industries that are actively engaged in the success of our students in the district overall, which we see when you all have communities in schools. So continue in that piece. So these are just some of the highlighted statements from the 2030 vision statement. This was utilized to then move into the strategy action team, taking the board's vision to then say, what are the top achievements? We looked at the SWOT analysis to say, here's where we are. If we want to make this to be true in 2030, what are the things we actually need to focus on? And we doubled down in some of those areas that you see highlighted here, are the areas to continue to improve upon and build upon in order to reach that 2030 vision story. That was then utilized, in the next slide, to begin some draft development of strategic focus areas. We did a lot of note-taking and ideation and creation around where do we need to continuously like push and focus and build upon in order to get to this 2030 vision. And so here's some of the things updated here where we decided that some of those focus areas would need to be. Taking that, this was a snapshot of the first draft strategic priorities. You will see data-driven decisions being the flashlight for all things, the foundation being unifying our community. We also have the pillars of strategic resource allocation, relevant and responsive staff development, unified academic expectations, and engaged and empowered students. This visual was provided in both the survey and focus groups for strategy testing, which I'll share with you in a moment. But this is what was utilized to put out to the stakeholders to see, does this resonate? Since we did that initial stakeholder data collection, we wanted to know, is this in response to what you said? If we focus on these in the next 5 years, will we actually meet what you vision for the district? And then we were able to get feedback, and I'll share that. We also utilized this to create the theory of action. The theory of action being the articulating the changes that actually have to take place in order for the district to achieve the organization's future. And so here we have the theory of action that was created based on continued revisions, but focusing on starting from our current state to where we want to be, these are the areas in which we need to focus on. And so if our district establishes clear, consistent, and rigorous academic expectations and instructional practices that build progressively from pre-K through 12th grade, ensuring continuity across classrooms, grade levels, and schools. We build a culture of continuous improvement grounded in high-quality data analysis, professional learning, and shared accountability, and foster inclusive environments and build intentional partnerships with families and communities that reflect shared priorities. Then our schools will deliver academically challenging, culturally responsive, and engaging instruction, driven by educators who hold high expectations for every student, collaboratively analyze data to inform decisions, and authentically engage students, families, staff, and communities in ways that reflect and honor their unique needs, voices, and strengths, so that our students graduate prepared for college careers and futures defined by their own goals and thrive in a diverse, ever-changing society, overcoming disparities and outcomes linked to race, ability, socioeconomic status, or neighborhoods. So the visual I shared with you with the pillars, we took that again to the strategy testing. We did focus groups. We held 5 focus groups with 40 participants. And then we also received 652 survey responses on the survey as well. Highlighting overall, there was support for these strategic pillars. The biggest piece was around simplification and clarity in language. As you all know, sometimes in education we have edu-speak, and so really making sure that we're intentional about the language that we're using for any layperson to truly understand what we are actually trying to communicate and to convey. Then the analysis was provided to our strategy action team. We were able to take that and determine, based on the feedback from our stakeholders, which things do we need to keep as is, what do we need to tweak, and what do we need to overhaul to continue to refine all of the strategic priorities and focus areas. And that takes us to the next phase, which was the strategy refinement. So all of that information was utilized to then refine these pillars into what we now know as Ignite. You can go to the next one. Reach higher, empowering every eagle to soar. Reach being an acronym. And this really focuses on acknowledging the past success and building upon the continued success of the district, while also focusing on making sure that we have every eagle to soar and reaching higher. And REACH stands for, so there are 5 places that we would focus on in order to dive deeper and for the district to reach higher. The first is relevant and responsive staff development, really making sure that we have growth and retention for all staff collectively to share it on a shared vision for aligned high-quality learning and student success. E is engaged and empowered students. Every student must consistently be present and actively engaged. We also have A, accelerate academic excellence, doubling down on aligning academic expectations and instructional practices across the district to make sure that there are seamless transitions, collaboration, and high expectations. C is cultivating collective pride, building meaningful partnerships with both students, families, and communities. And lastly, H, harnessing data to drive improvement, using the data as a flashlight to eliminate what works, address what doesn't, and align the strategies from classroom to central office. In the strategic plan, there are a couple different layers I want to provide to you. There are the strategic pillars, which is the REACH acronym. These are the 5 core high-level domains where the efforts will be concentrated over the next 5 years. The next is the goal. The goal is the bold aspirational goal and aim. Then there are measures of success, being the specific achievements within that goal, and by when, the measurable pieces. And then the priorities are the key areas of focus to meet that we would need to do in order to meet each goal. What's not on here is which is more internally focused, is both the strategies, so the action steps that the team will actually move the work, as well as the KPIs, which are the key performance indicators and utilizing to measure the success on the way through to meet those goals. And so we have relevant responsive staff development at a high level, the goal here being purposeful professional learning. And thinking about the SWOT analysis, the areas to continue to build upon, really ensuring that there's professional development aligned to the areas that we want to continue to improve, which is that high quality instruction, the academic consistency, but also recognizing that not everyone is a teacher in the district, but there are also different roles, and making sure that professional development is also differentiated in order to provide growth for professional staff that are beyond just teachers. The next area is the engage and empower students, with the high-level goal here being preparing students for lifelong success, focusing on building the social-emotional piece, as well as decreasing the chronic absenteeism that we did once we looked at outcome data, really seeing that really pop at the high school level, and making sure that we utilize partnerships such as communities and schools to do that. As well as continuing to broaden the scope for students to expand beyond the classroom into different industry credentials, as well as making sure that they also feel a sense of belonging in their school, and have an adult to go through to. Accelerating academic excellence, the goal here, high level, is implementing high quality instruction to accelerate the student learning and close opportunity gaps. We felt it necessary to make sure that not only are we focused on the overall achievement, but being able to specifically call out where we have had historically marginalized and underserved students and those gaps, and making sure that there are intentional strategies to address that, and measures of success to continue to measure that throughout the duration of the plan. Cultivating collective pride. Goals here being strengthening the strategic partnerships to support district priorities. Again, this is a lot of work, but one of the things that's most important is recognizing the district is not alone in moving the work. You have partners that we just saw, communities and schools and others, to continue to make sure that we're intentional about making sure that they also know their role and part, and we invite them in to be a part of the solution. Execute a unified and purposeful communication strategy, and continuing to strengthen family engagement. One of the things we noticed in our responses is just the different response rates from different types of families across buildings, across race, in terms of our family engaging, and really being intentional about how we continue to engage the full scope of the Ferndale community. And lastly, harnessing data to drive improvement. One, establishing a culture of data-driven decision-making. We saw that beginning to happen today with board member Aaron bringing up making sure that we have presentations that are truly aligned, so that you as board members can truly understand to track the progress that we want to see in this acceleration of academic performance across gaps and align to goals. Ensuring resources match priorities, again, utilizing the strategic priorities and focus areas to align those resources to continue to move that. All of that, I know, sounds like a lot, and you're like, how am I going to track that? How are we going to know if we're meeting it? We've also developed tools to support you in this, one of which is the quarterly progress report, so that you all will have access to this and this being updated to provide to you, and transparently to the stakeholders each quarter. That is utilized to help you to kind of see where you are based on the goal. Where are we on track? Are we not on track? But also to understand if something is actually in progress. Recognizing all of this in this 5 years is not going to all start tomorrow or year one, but some things will actually have a scaffold approach and may not start until year two, so that you also understand why something may not be moving. But we want to make sure that we build those tools for you. So this is just a snapshot of a quarterly progress report. The other tools are also the key performance indicator data collection, so that the staff is able to continuously monitor that each quarter. That then will feed into this to make it very clear about the progress being made on each of those goals. Overall, I think a couple of things to just highlight is just the level of engagement that has happened, and this plan being representative of a lot of different voices, a lot of perspectives, experiences in the district. Over the 6 months, we've had 151 people to be participants of the focus groups, and over 1,000 online survey responses. And so just the level of engagement and commitment from people beyond those that get paid, but your families, even your students, truly showed up and shared their voices. We also had 5 strategy development team meetings, as well as 5 strategy action team meetings, and 28 and counting meet check-ins with your superintendent and deputy superintendent as well. And so very appreciative of the district, their time, your time, and your stakeholders for really being able to create a collaborative process. And so the next slide is just the strategy development team shout outs and strategy action team, because they continue to show up. They pushed back, which was great, and they also pushed in, which was also important to make sure that we had a strategic plan that is not just pretty, but also is representative of actually the living work that will happen in the district. So I will stop talking and see if there are any questions.
It's fantastic. I mean, I think you saw last presentation, just being able to have this piece, which goes beyond just like the sort of addresses everything. What's the plan to roll this out to?
So we have a busy summer ahead of us because the next step, as Dr. Peterson mentioned, is the action steps, right? So this is great. We know we're directed, but we feel like we're in a position for August PD, what that building level PD is going to be critically important to ensure that the staff has voice in like how they're going to achieve these goals. So we feel pretty confident about like our district rollout, but ensuring that it's very tightly aligned to how the buildings are rolling out those.
I was thinking actually more toward general public, just because there's so much engagement was done, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But being able to show this is where it's going, because we talk about brand and perception, and like showing that like track.
Okay.
Is a very that's my question.
Sure. Sure. I actually have a meeting on Wednesday with our Actigy team, who is like the website kind of creators. And one of the things I'm going to talk about is that specifically is we absolutely need a page dedicated, not only just this is what we did, but this is where you can find the updates, because it's going to be really important, like those updates. This is a dynamic plan. So when we have those opportunities to share, here's how we met the mark or we didn't, where can the community go to see that?
Yeah.
So having a page dedicated on our website is going to be really important.
Yeah, that was.
As well as, dashboards. Also, we're talking as well about like common places in the buildings, right? So is it the main office where parents might be able, or community members might be able to see how things are progressing, but having it in a common place in all of our buildings so that when the community is there, they can see it live and in action.
No,
so that's another.
There, so everybody can see like what you're tracking. Only feedback is if we do this presentation in public, can we change the pictures to represent?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can get some.
We can get some real people.
We got some Ferndale pics.
And then how much work is it to put all the baseline data together?
But we have begun that, right? So like the leadership retreat that we had last Thursday, it was Dr. Peterson kind of created a visual so that we as leaders can see. It's very easy to just look at all of those goals and priorities and say like, oh my gosh, August is going to be crazy, right? But what we were able to do is to really drill down into each individual goal, because some of them you have to meet the goal by 26, 27, others 28, 29, right? So what must it look like on the 1 year? It might be like we're researching versus the next year we're implementing. Then the following year, we're going to make sure that we're adjusting and pivoting based on the implementation that we did, right? So we now can see which goals or which priorities we must attack immediately versus which are the ones we need to begin researching. So now our next step, I think, at a cabinet level is like, who are the owners, monitors, like what exactly does that look like? Because of course, we are all owning it, right? But there has to be like a point person for each of these areas to ensure that we're moving the needle.
No, I mean, I've done lots of plans. Some of them are terrible that I've done, and just the tying this all into one narrative, and having your KPIs, it's going to make it easy for people to sort of, even if they're sort of thinking about Ferndale, to look at, to see
How we're moving.
how progress is going, sort of what the goals are, risk concerns. This is really exciting.
I also will say too, I think like you were mentioning, the version that we put publicly, we absolutely recognize that there's a lot of educator lingo in here too. So like we've been talking about one pagers and like what is a common slide deck look like for each of the buildings during PLC, like all of these ways that we can ensure that it is as digestible as possible, but also recognize who our audience is.
I have a comment and a question. Comment is the same thing that Mark just said. I think this work is amazing and has been such a long process and has been so collaborative of so many people in the district. And I think Dr. Peterson, you've done a fantastic job. I've also participated in strategic plans that are definitely not as good as this. So I'm super looking forward. I was very excited to see the presentation of this on the agenda today. And then my question is related to the agenda. This is kind of a newbie board member question. Sorry. When we don't have the presentation in the board packet, does it get updated on the website once we get it? So that
it's not always that way, but we absolutely have the ability to do that. Okay. It's not like just we absolutely can, because we want to make sure that they know, but just know also that we are planning for like a big launch.
A rollout and launch, yeah.
Hey, here it is. Yeah. This is the work, right? So we can do both, I think.
Okay. I would love to have the slides after.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Want me to refresh it?
Yeah, it is important.
Okay.
Just making sure it's on.
It helps to refresh.
I do see it. I think it should be in the board, or the board materials available to the public. Oh.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, no questions. Just kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 7, public comment. This is a time for public participation in the meeting. The Board of Education intends for the public to have many opportunities to address the board and administration of their school district. These include mail, email, phone calls, face-to-face meetings, community gatherings, public hearings, and other public meetings. We welcome individual and group input into the important issues that confront our schools. As noted at the top of the agenda, this is a meeting of the school board open to the public. We want to provide fair and impartial guidelines for participation as required by the Open Meetings Act and to encourage transparency and equal treatment for everyone in attendance. We also recognize that an effective meeting facilitates better decisions and promotes openness by allowing more people to stay for the full length of the meeting. To meet these goals, please note the following. We ask that you identify yourself and list contact information on a comment sheet to help administrators follow up with you on your comment. I will call on people who have completed the comment sheets first. Each person will have one opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Comments or questions should be directed to the board president. Vice President Kaiser will raise her hand when your time is within a few seconds of expiring. This period of public comments is for both non-agenda items and issues that are on the agenda. Complaints about staff should be made outside of board meetings and should follow the applicable board policy. Please contact the superintendent's office if you have any questions regarding this item. The board cannot respond to complaints about employees and public. This is meant to promote fairness to staff, to the staff person and the complainant. The Ferndale Public Schools community acts with great civility towards one another. Please help us to maintain that tradition during public comment. Up first, Kathy Duran.
Okay, voice. I have a weird allergy going on. I'm hoping I can get through this without coughing. So, Kathy Duran, a transportation employee of 30 years. Good evening to everybody. Dear Superintendent Camille Hibbler, Felicia Wright, President Sandra Dukey, and school board members and administrative staff. I'm honored to stand before you today to express my heartfelt gratitude for the opportunity to serve Ferndale schools as a bus driver for 30 years. I'm proud to have played a part in shaping young minds, keeping them safe, and contributing to the district's mission. My students and myself have shared moments that drove me crazy and filled my heart all in the same day. Never a dull moment, and I suppose that's why 30 years flew by. I wouldn't trade all the smiles, laughter, yelling, screaming, jokes, crying, spills, loose teeth. I had bloody noses in there, but I omitted it, but I'm also questions, wiggling, meaningful talks, counseling 101, micromanaging 72, curious, fun, younger and older student experiences for any other career. I hope somewhere en route, my students were left with something positive and meaningful while they were my passengers. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your leadership and support throughout my 30-year career. I appreciate what you do for Ferndale schools to keep it strong and would also like to extend that out to the parents too. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going home. I have a new puppy, and we're hoping it's not tearing up our house. We didn't want to put it in the crate. We felt bad. So have a beautiful summer, and thank you again for everything. All the good memories will just always be with me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Eddie Sabatini.
President Dukey, Superintendent Hibbler, Deputy Superintendent Wright, members of the board, neighbors, good evening. Eddie Sabatini, 1003 Pearson Street. I'm here again representing a growing coalition of residents who are invested in the future of the Kulik building and property. Our goal is a collaboration with the district in preserving a community space and park with inclusive public access. So I'm just here with a quick update. We are growing, as I mentioned. We've got nearing 200 signatures. I think the last time I was here, we were at 115 signatures. We have officially secured the endorsement of the Detroit Bird Alliance, which we're super stoked about. And I have a meeting with them this week to discuss some educational programming ideas around the chimney swifts that are living in the chimney. So I threw a bunch of ideas out at them, and I probably overwhelmed them. So we're going to meet and talk about things like a nature walk with kids and seniors, the Birds of Kulik or Birds of Ferndale educational class or seminar, maybe at the library. The timing's bad. I would have suggested the schools. Obviously, that's not the time for it right now, but we'll see. More to come. I'll give you more updates. We're working on getting the official endorsement of the Ferndale Senior Group, a very important group that the Kulik building was very important to. So they're going to vote on it. Apparently, they liked my presentation, but they weren't ready to give their official endorsement, which I understand. I appreciate the due diligence. Ms. Wright, we very much look forward to participating in the Facilities Committee when it reconvenes. We know it's a busy summer. We've been hearing all about the amazing things that are going on, so we'll be staying tuned. Look forward to talking with you more. And we appreciate your collaboration up to this point. It's been very inspiring to the community, so thank you. Last updates, we're meeting with the city manager's office just to kind of gauge their priorities and encourage conversation and collaboration with the district and the community. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your service to the students in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea Popovic.
Hi, everyone. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I'm in school almost. Never prepared. I'm here on behalf of myself as a Ferndale resident, a substitute teacher in the city, and the Ferndale Environment and Sustainability Commission, a group busy making a difference in our community. Some of you may know we're the people who advocated for rain barrels, which led to rain barrels for residents at a discounted price. We supported a native plant initiative with the native seed package, as well as residential composting program, which goes along with education on all the mentioned subjects. And most of that was financed through grants as well. We're a team that wants to help our city become more sustainable and more forward-thinking, and we're excited to bring that expertise and passion, hopefully, to our schools. Which brings me to my subject of composting. I know, very exciting. At the PTA fair, where FESC had a table and got to meet members of our community, I was honestly excited to see kids who already know a lot about composting, not just the basics of putting food scraps into a bin, but the whole life cycle, turning waste into rich soil. That knowledge starts at home and in our communities, and we have a wonderful opportunity here to grow. I know we have kids from outside of Ferndale who may not have composting within their community, and this is a great chance to show what's possible, to empower all of our kids to become environmental leaders. We're fortunate to have a community partner like Co-Sustainability, who also was at the PTA fair, and who already works with Royal Oak schools, which I also did a little bit substitution for. The schools collect food scraps, Co-Sustainability converts it into rich soil, and then sells it back to the schools at cost. The school, in turn, can sell it to the community or wherever for profit, which then goes back and can pay for these bins and for the weekly pickups at the school. I know this isn't a simple process. There's a lot of details to figure out, and we have some obstacles to navigate, but we'd love to keep the conversation going, to collaborate and see where we can take this together. Because when we start in our schools, we're not just shaping our community, we're shaping future generations who care about their community and their planet. So let's put our heads and our food scraps together and see what we can grow. So, like I said, I'm just from the FESC committee. I don't know how that partnership will look. There was a stewardship that I did see, but unfortunately it's on hold right now. 10 seconds. Oh, sorry, that's all. I don't know where we fit in, but just think about us. I will show up and, I'll keep talking and hopefully we can, partner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here for public comment? All right. Public comment is now closed, which brings us to item 8, to the consent agenda. Item 8.1, request to approve minutes of the special meeting of the whole May 5th, 2025. 8.2, request to approve minutes of regular meeting May 19th, 2025. 8.3, request to approve new hires, resignations, and transfers. 8.4, request to approve bills and accounts for May 2025. 8.5, request to approve Michigan Association of Superintendents and Administrators membership dues for 25-26. 8.6, request to approve Michigan Association of School Boards board book contract renewal for 2025-2026. 8.7, request to approve Michigan Association of School Boards membership dues for 2025-2026. 8.8, request to approve Michigan High School Athletic Association resolution for 2025-2026. 8.9, the request to approve 2025-2026 cafeteria resolution. 8.10, the request to approve 2025-2026 Student Activity Resolution. 8.11, request to approve 2025-2026 General Fund Original Budget Resolution. 8.12, the request to approve 2024-2025 General Fund Budget Amendment 2 Resolution. 8.13, request to approve Ferndale L 4029 tax year 2025. And 8.14, request to approve millage 2025 resolution. Does anyone wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for questions or discussions later? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Lisa.
Second.
Seconded by Aaron. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Crumrine,
Yes.
De La Verne,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Mulner,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
President Dookie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 6 yes votes, the motion passes and the consent agenda is approved. Item 9, action items. 9.1, request to approve iReady renewal proposal.
Hello again, everybody.
Hi, Tom.
As we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I am asking for approval of a proposal to renew our contract with iReady for 1 additional year. Included with the renewal is a pilot of the personalized pathways that you heard a lot of the principals talk about tonight. So please approve so I don't have to go back and tell them that it didn't fly. No, just kidding. Hopefully you find it worthwhile.
I'll entertain a motion to approve item 9.1, request to approve iReady renewal proposal.
I'll move.
Moved by Jonathan.
Second.
Seconded by Aaron. Seconded by Lisa, sorry. Any discussion on the motion?
Excited to see what comes of it.
So am I.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
De La Verne,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
Mulner.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Crumrine,
Yes.
President Dookie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 6 yes votes, the motion passes and item 9.1, the request to approve iReady renewal proposal is approved.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tom.
Item 9.2, the request to approve Troon policy adoption recommendation.
Fancy formal.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So you should have been able to click on a link in the request that was in the board packet. All of the Troon policies have been brought up today. They've been updated with the edits and the per the discussion we've had over the last several months, committee of the whole meeting. And so we're pleased to present these to you tonight. A couple notes. Remember, when we go with Troon, not only do we buy their policies from them, we also subscribe to their policy service, and that's the real advantage of that. I'm very pleased to tell you tonight that I just received the annual update for the packet you're about to approve. So in the next August or September, we get to go right back at it again. We'll take a couple months off first. So all the policies that you see in front of you should represent the discussions we've had both as a cabinet team and the committee of the whole meeting. Tonight, what we're requesting from the board is the full repeal of all policies with the exception of the student bullying policy, which legally we have to have a public hearing on before the board can adopt that policy. So we'll go through that process in August to officially adopt that particular policy. As I said, I will also be bringing updates back to you. And our plan right now is within the next day or two, we will have all of the new policies posted on our website as Google documents as they were presented to you this evening. Our hope is that eventually we can work with board notes to publish them the same way that our current policies are shared and that your board documents are shared as well. But for the time being, in the interest of expediency, we're going to get them up through Google Docs so that they're posted and available as required. So our requested action tonight is again to repeal all existing policies with the exception of the student bullying policy and the two policies regarding technology acceptable use and safety, which are actually just going to be considered amended. And then we'll come back in August for the anti-bullying policy. So a lot of work has gone through this. Thank you for your patience, and I can answer any questions everybody has.
Question on process.
Yes.
Do we have to do two votes, one on the repeal, one on the approve, or we just good with the approve?
One is what I understand. Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to approve item 9.2, request to approve Troon policy adoption recommendation.
So moved.
Moved by Aaron.
Second.
Seconded by David. Any discussion on the motion?
Thank you for all the hard
Thank you
work
for all
put
the
in.
work.
Yeah,
Staying
thank you
late
very
at
much.
meetings.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
beast.
everybody. Thanks for your patience with me.
Not approved yet, Tom. Hope we actually vote no.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got a little excited there, Sandra. Sorry.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Mulner,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Crumrine,
Yes.
Laverne,
Yes.
President Duke.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, got that on the toes.
Thank you.
With 6 yes votes, the motion passes and item 9.2, request to approve Troon policy adoption recommendation is approved. Item 10, superintendent's update.
Question real quick.
Yes.
We have another item.
Yeah, in our board,
Turn over.
Sorry,
Sorry.
9.3.
on our board,
Oh, my God.
Sandra,
First
we
I
didn't get
stopped
9.3 email though.
That's what happened. So, sorry, the agenda and the email did not have 9.3 on it. That's why it's not here. So, my apologies. Item 9.3, request to approve recommendation of contract award for food service contract management.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Board President and Honorable Board. This has been an arduous process. I have not been through this process before, and it's completely dictated by MDE. From the verbiage to the timing, to approval, to who attends, was all dictated by the state. And so, although arduous, I appreciate it because it really kept us on our toes, and it also ran for a really a process that is really integral. So tonight I bring to you a recommendation to award a contract to Chartwells for the 25-26 school year for the management of the school district's food service operations in the not to exceed amount of $1,437,747.18. This process began in May, just a month ago, and it required a pre-bid or mandatory pre-bid and walkthrough of our facilities. At that time, we had 7 companies to show up and participate in that process. In the end, 5 companies actually submitted proposals, including our incumbent Chartwells. Based on the evaluation committee that convened and was representative of myself, the other central administration, as well as school leadership. The recommendations brought to you to award the contract to Chartwells based on its response to the RFP with respect to meal participation, accessibility, the candidate for management of the contract for the upcoming year, and integrity with respect to the operating budget and forecasting for the district. Below, you will be able to see the costs that were submitted by opposing for competitors for the food service program. If it were approved tonight, the district would move forward with negotiating a final contract with Chartwells, and execution of the contract would then be sent back to the state for record. This contract has the ability to renew for up to 5 years, or 1 year at a time.
Entertain a motion to approve item 9.3, the request to approve recommendation of contract award for food service contract management.
Can I actually ask a question before we vote for clarification?
And when we do discussion,
Make sure that we're allowed to vote on it?
you can do it. Let's do the move
Okay.
by, second by, and then, yes.
So moved.
Moved by Lisa,
Second.
second by David. Any discussion on the motion? What's your-
Yes. I just want to clarify that we are able to vote on this if it wasn't in the board packet for the email.
It was in the board packet after. It was, you just didn't get it. It was in the board book.
It was in the-
posted on the wall.
Okay.
So it's in the posted agenda.
So it's in posted. Yeah.
So, okay, I just want to make sure that when we settle on that Thursday. Okay.
It's
I
on the
mean,
wall.
Friday.
It was
Okay.
posted on Friday.
Okay, just wanted to
Just
clarify.
after 3:00.
Okay.
I want to note the reason for the delay is because around 3:00, we received approval from MDE to submit for approval
Okay.
to our school board.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yes, sir.
Was the May RFP date, was that dictated by the state?
It was. I had it a little bit earlier, and just based on the review process and the availability of our consultant, it was changed. But going through this process now, we'll start in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, I knew where you were going. We will start in January.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd?
Mulner,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Crumrine,
Yes.
Dillaberne,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
President Dookie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With 6 yes votes, the motion passes. And item 9.3, the request to approve recommendation of contract award for food service contract management is approved. Item 10, superintendent's update.
Good evening. My update includes, since we last met, we did conclude our final graduation for the school year with Ferndale High School. Another event that I'd like to highlight was the second grade clap out, which was probably had the same amount of people as FHS's graduation.
Nice.
Like it was wonderful. It was great what they did was they walked out of the second grade hallway in the back, and they had the entire school was on either side of the sidewalk, and then the parents, and it was just they were just ecstatic walking down that tunnel to see the parents, and they had signs and balloons, and it was just spectacular. We definitely saw that pride, the excitement going from lower to upper. It was just a beautiful event. So I'm definitely looking forward to next year, but excited to see so many that will be going on to upper. Also, we had our end of year luncheon where we did get a chance to highlight our tenured teachers, our retirees, and our 5, 10, 15, 25, and 30 years of service awards as well as some yummy food from Chartwell, so thank you. I also spoke a little bit about our year-end retreat. That was a replacement for our principals meeting, and this is the first time we've done a full day end-of-year retreat, but with the dynamic plan, with the sunsetting of the scrapper department, there were so many things that we really needed time to kind of dig into before we went out for the summer. And I knew, and the feedback suggested that it was extremely helpful. And they were able to kind of start looking ahead to August without feeling that anxiety of, oh, I'm not sure exactly what's coming next. So I'm really glad that we did that full day, and we'll look forward to doing that in the future. The bulk of my time has been, a large bulk of my time has been that transition planning, as I'm speaking of the 2 roles that will be sunsetting, as well as the department that is effective date is June 30th. So that date is coming very, very fast. And we just want to make sure that it is a seamless transition. We have been meeting, Shelton has been meeting with the staff that are in that department that will be transitioning to his department. And we're feeling really good about the transition. Just want to make sure that we are communicating as widely enough and as frequent enough to make sure that building leaders, department leaders, as well as our wider community are aware of this sunset and, all that entails. And most importantly, who do they contact in the meantime if they have a communications related question, et cetera, et cetera. So we are getting prepared. We're feeling very confident about the transition as it stands right now. The final event that I do want to close out with is I was very proud that we were able to represent Ferndale schools at the BMEA Gala. BMEA is originally Black Male Educators Alliance. They just changed their name to Boldly Moving Education Along. Change. Maybe it's not along. We may have some of the acronym letters incorrect, but they made a change to their name. But again, really looking forward to a potential partnership with this organization. Again, they do support with professional development for staff. They also, and this is the most important piece, is that they do have boldly moving education ahead, not along. That feels much better. So as I mentioned, I'm very excited about the potential partnership for our students to actually go through a cohort where our young men can have the opportunity to get training, support. The goal is to have a cohort of potential new teachers. They also will be counselors for a summer camp. Just want to note that it was so compelling that my son is actually going to be in attendance at the camp this summer. And I'm just really excited about the, again, potential partnerships and opportunities for both our students and our staff. So I will keep the board updated about that potential partnership. That concludes my update. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to item 11, informational items, 11.1, budget to actual report.
Hello again.
Hi, Dawn.
I'm presenting the May budget to actual report. And, just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, it's May budget actual report, it's through May 31st. We're on track, and the percent remaining is close to where it was last year. And spending is on par with what we expect. Just in the expenditures part, there are still six payments, FEA pays left for the year. 2 in June, 2 in July, 2 in August. Because the teachers get paid out September through August. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Item 12, consideration of any pulled consent agenda items. We didn't have any. Item 13, our next committee of the whole, Monday, August 11th at 6 p.m. Item 14, our next regular board meeting is Monday, August 18th at 7 p.m. Item 15, Eagles Points of Pride.
Start.
Oh.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, shoot. All right.
Yeah.
I'll go first. So I was a high school teacher for so long, and I've been to more commencements than I can count. And going to our commencements for the first time as a new board member was really exciting, and I always love them. My face always hurts by the end of the evening. And going to the commencement for TCEC was especially exciting to see people who took to just hear stories of people who took a less traditional route that just had such storied journeys to making such a huge achievement in their lives was really inspirational and beautiful. And yeah, I just felt really proud of our students and all the work that they had done. It was really a special thing to be a part of. So just really proud of our graduates and happy for them. So, now you can go, Dave.
Oh, that's why I wanted to go first.
You shouldn't have done paper.
Never mind. But I do have a backup. Personally, as kind of a rookie to this gig, I want to thank everybody in this room because not coming from the education world, I have and will continue to have a lot of questions. Sometimes it's just what these initials mean. But, no, everybody in this room, and it's key, and I think I learned it in Atlanta that, this is not the norm. And I appreciate sometimes I ask stupid questions, but no, bottom line is I do really appreciate this because it's needed. And like I said, I think over the past whatever months it's been, you realize that this is a rare thing, and I appreciate it. So that's my fault. It's Lisa's stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
Oh, synergy.
Gotta go first.
I also have a backup. Maybe it's the next person. I know we celebrated a lot of retirees and anniversaries today. But I just wanted to shout out Miss Kathy, who's not here anymore, but she was the one who spoke at public comment. She was one of my kids' bus drivers, and she is truly the sweetest person ever. I remember she wrote a thank you card to us one year for a Christmas gift, and it was so nice and like individualized to my students. And she just put so much care into her job, and I know she will be missed, and I wish her a wonderful retirement, and I appreciate her service.
I'll go next. Mine is close. Mine is thinking about from the retirees, I was really thinking about the team that we have here that's dedicated to Ferndale and just how much intentionality is put behind our students, our district, not only our students, but our district, our staff, our community, especially with having our first full year with our soup. So just wanted to, if I give it right, throw shine your way, just on all of you guys' hard work this year and dedication to our Ferndale excellence.
I know.
Not
Yeah, I'm
intended.
gonna plus up that a little bit, but just specifically Don, Tom. I mean, you all are up here. You take 75% of the students. Superintendent, Deputy Superintendent, did a good job of throwing you out there. Did it. And I think you see just the metrics of improvement. Are due to all of your leadership. Don, we come back in August, hopefully we have a budget, but I would say we will. And, I think the dynamic plan is going to sort of need to level up another game, right? From, how we're tracking, and it's not just like the number, but how we're going to get to the number. So it's going to keep getting harder. Definitely appreciate all the work that you put into this and just continuing to get better. It's kind of like the overall. It's been very impressive, just the amount of work and everything to prepare.
Am I next?
Either one of you.
So you did take mine. And then I'm a prior. So I want to also just shout out the Department of Student Transportation and Kathy in particular. And then Cheryl Dursky. I was not here for the last day. My son graduated from high school, so I was at graduation. But I would have just absolutely bawled. Those two ladies mean a tremendous amount to me. The entire department is really something special. It's a small group. They're a tight group of people. I miss being there every day with them, which I'm contemplating moving back over there with them just to support Patty with her transition as supervisor. But they really do care a lot about those kids. And today I also, it's the same thing. Today, I attended our safety summit meeting with Oakland Schools. And the presenter mentioned how a school bus driver knows more about those kids than any of us can, because that's the first person they see in the movie. They can tell you when they're hurt. They can tell you when they're sad, when they're not getting along with their friends. And it's so true, because I've seen it with Ms. Durham with her notes. She used to write me notes. When I first started, she wrote me a note. She's extremely a warm-hearted woman, and I'm just going to miss her. And just to let you know, the department is something special.
Miss Kathy also gave me a gift and a handwritten card as well. She is a very special.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not
Wow.
that.
Right. We're all special. We'll just say that. We're all special. So my point of pride is, it's already been somewhat mentioned, but I wondered how I would feel at the end of my first year as superintendent. And I knew what we had ahead of us, right? I knew that this was a year where it was unique, where we did not have a strategic plan per se in place, right? This was the year of building the strategic plan, so one could think that it was a bit of a gap year. We also had the bond ahead of us. Who knew that we were going to have a complete and total, what I will call a assault sounds aggressive, but that's what it has felt like, assault on public education this year. And there were a number of times where I was scared, literally scared of leading this district. And I think that everyone in this room, from the board to the team, have made me feel like I could fly. And I mean that not wasn't trying to do a pun on the eagle, but it worked. But no, seriously, it really, I felt comfortable and confident to take the steps that I felt were necessary to keep this district safe in a lot of ways. I know that it was a rocky at certain times, but what I do know is that this team had my back. And I am feeling right now exactly how I hope to feel at the end of my first year. And I'm so very appreciative. I'm not going to cry. That's not going to happen. But I am very appreciative. And I am so looking forward to, like you said, Mark, that's just so excited about this dynamic plan and where it's going to take Ferndale schools. And I continue to be honored to serve as the leader of this district. So thank you.
So she stole mine.
Oh.
So similarly, I too am thankful for the people in the room, and I, on many different levels, right? Because in this room, the turnover in certain places, people coming back, people new to this table. I too am I'm a diehard Eagle with like a few of us here at this table, and so all of the people in this under this district are my people, right? Whether they're my kids or employees, like everyone here is family. And so for me, it's been a really rough 2025 for me, right? So knowing it was Camille's first year, Felicia's first year, some board members' first year was like, I'm supposed to help steer this ship. And I was in a spot of like, do I do what I need to do for me, but also need to do know that what has to be done here can be done. And needless to say, I was able to do what I needed to do for me and know that things weren't going to fall through the cracks. You weren't going to run out and say you quit. Like all things are in order. So with that, I just thank you to everyone. And I am truly if you don't work 12 months, take your time and enjoy it. And I am not bothering anyone in the month of July. So unless you absolutely need us for something, I think we should totally unplug for July. You and I won't, but everyone else will. So with that, we're adjourned at 9:14.